Hi. Initially, I had no intention to make this into a video, but as the work progressed, I realized that the content would actually be much closer to the stuff that I initially intended to put on this channel, exposing the great lie that all other people always make awesome stuff and never fail. So, if you enjoy a bite-sized kitbash, together with a healthy dose of honest failure, this video is for you. I recently did 3 sorcerers for a Warp Coven Kill Team. They do not make for a full kill team, but my friend who they belong to already have a 5-man companion crew, so the task was kind of done. But I realized that not only do I have 2 sets of legs left, but also Flamer I had finished, because my Warp Coven friend never completed it. That makes 6, and 6 is the magic number for a complete Warp Coven Kill Team. So why not wrap up all of this by producing an entire team? So first off, the complete Flamer. He has a totally different blue, and I finished him off with gold before I realized that my friend had only used yellow. So I gave him the jar, giving me the perfect reason to try my new paint stripper out. But trying to be funny putting a slender looking lady there does not fool me. This is some strong stuff, and just minutes after putting him in there are flakes of color hanging loose. But all in all, it's just a complete model that will just be repainted blue and yellow instead of blue and gold, so let's move on to the fun stuff. I don't really know why I have a rather insane number of flamers. There must be some kind of 40k thing to run all flamers. What I do know is that I will try to turn that into a resource somehow. When it comes to the marines, I pretty much have 2 full marines, but there are a few key parts missing, most notably half a torso and a base. The base I stole from my Chaos Marines, shifting the problem into the near future, and half a torso I stole from my son's Assault Marines. Turns out that they are the same shape. And once all the other crap is strapped on there, no one will ever notice the difference. Once again, I realized how awesome that marine modularity is. My friend had a wish that there would be 2 flamers, as he then have the option to run 6 marines with 2 flamers. It certainly isn't a meta, but an option is an option, so there will be another flamer. As I'm quite limited on the number of models, this one will have to double. Perfect time to try some magnetization. I have tried it once before, but it all just ended in me gluing it all things in place because it got just too complicated and well, it was too weak. So this time I concentrated on brute force to make bigger holes to fit larger magnets. And it kind of worked. Even though it certainly isn't a snug fit, I believe no one will ever notice once it's on the table. Speaking of notice, I bet you can't tell that this is the guy who stole the back from the Assault Marines. He looks kind of dull though. Let's throw in a bird face. Much better. And then they're all off to the priming. It might be because I'm not a native speaker, but my brain cannot stop making connections between the Soul Reaper cannon and the Grim Reaper. So if I was Death, which shooty weapon would I bring? A chain cannon certainly seems fitting, but it's already been done and there's nothing in the name that says it has to be chains involved. Another viable option would be a shotgun, but looking at the stats of one, it seems a bit off. In general, I like the spread of damage models, given the few parameters available. I would say that the base of the damage model is the bolter, together with the 7 wound trooper. 1 crit and 1 normal hit across the board and he's gone. But shotguns take a slightly different route, sacrificing the range for a greater chance to hit. Not quite as sure as the flamer, but instead it maintains the 2 hit kill. Then there is the plasma family of weapons. that concentrate on actually pushing the damage through by adding the armor piercing. Given the stats of the Soul Reaper cannon, it is the bastard child of a souped up bolter and a plasma gun. This we need to somehow capture in the looks. As we all know, the basis of a good shotgun is 2 smoking barrels. So I cut up these cotton buds to steel the plastic shafts, just to realize that we have gone all environmentally friendly and replace those with rolled paper. But barrels, there need to be, so I use them anyway. They were quite horrible to drill in, and I was very worried that the paper would dissolve once I got to painting them, so I primed them twice with matte varnish, just to be on the safe side. Now this actually looks very much like a shotgun, but given the stats I need something bigger and more ornate. This looks plain, like an actual shotgun. 40k in general and 1000 Suns in particular does not really do realistic. So I added the bird's head from 2 flamers. Now it's even bigger, but it also looks friggin' ridiculous. Just like the rest of the team, so it should blend in just fine. And given that he uses some large diameter magical pellets, it should fit the damage model as well. But there's still that tall plate, or whatever you call that thing, stuck on the back of his head. Last guy got a bird face, so I guess this time it's time to goatify. If he didn't look ridiculous before, he certainly does so now. Welcome to the team. So, how about that simple repaint? Well, it turns out that if you leave someone in that toxic pool while at work, they end up like this. Why didn't anyone tell me to read the instructions? Like the smarter part of me? There's quite a difference between 1 to 3 minutes and a full working day. The reason I didn't just reprime him was because I was worried that the double rattle can basings would come out a bit chunky. So instead I corroded the entire guy away and even left his base lower and with a slightly reduced diameter. Well, at least no one in real life got hurt. I guess I can just say it's because of the warp. Wish I don't really know exactly what it is, but if it can make people into bird goats, I bet it can also make them a bit blurry. Let's slap some paint on there and see where we end up. They obviously need some colors, but they will be exactly the same as the sorcerers in my last video. There's also the same kind of magic emerging, and even though I have no real recipe there, I remember the rough proportions and it should not be too hard to whip that up. Out of pure inspiration, the mutilated flamer also got a last minute flame of magic. It was an attempt to draw the eye away from the main details. I'm not 100% sure it works, but well, it's not like it looks any worse. Actually, with a bit of color and flame on there, you don't really notice how bad it looks. At least not while down at the table. So I guess I'm pretty happy anyway. The observant of you might have noticed quite a while ago that these guys will in fact not form a valid Warp Coven Kill Team. Quite a harsh thing to figure out when they're all painted up and ready to go. Luckily, it does not really matter. So now they will all get fitting names to drag down their performance wherever they might be used. Mesedzu Montu, or Montu hates him. Apparently, Montu is some old god looking like a falcon. A harsh thing if your main thing is looking like a bird. Dalila Jabare, a man known for his weak bravery. This is probably why he needs a long-range shotgun. Inkawu Ewuta, or Flaming Monkey. Actually, I just made it up, but I bet you don't know any ancient Egyptian anyway, so I could not resist using that name, as I've figured out the lore of this poor fellow. If you have done your military service, you know that there is always this one guy who finds a smarter way of doing things. most often by bypassing these safety procedures. Even though people tend to dive pretty deep into the lore, I have not found the imaginary safety procedures applicable to refilling a bottle of armor-piercing flaming stuff. But I can imagine that there could be some rather nasty accidents, and hence his name. Sure, that last poor guy did not turn out anywhere near what I had in mind, but such is life for the majority of us, and that is kind of the message here. It is awesome that there is so much inspiration and knowledge to be found free online, but don't get disencouraged just because your mini does not look like the pro on YouTube. Obviously not referring to myself though, but you get the point. Once again, I have realized that the major thing of these plastic fellows is to enjoy yourself while doing whatever you feel like. So, until next time, enjoy your hobby. Now suddenly I got accompanied by my 2-year-old son here. He's making sound effects and playing with them. I am a bit worried because I haven't primed them yet, but... Oops, sorry. Let's see. I did not mean priming, I meant... Damn it, this is not working.